A PML 30 for 30. cfield Ram, the greatest player in PML history. 8-time Super Bowl champ and a living PML legend. When you hear the name cfield, you think?
If PML had a Hall of Fame, he would definitely be a first ballot guy, I would say.
He's definitely the king. Like, there's just no question.
He's definitely one of the best. Anybody denies that, they're stupid. But mistake-free football is what I think of. When you have to play against him, you have to be mistake-free or limit your turnovers. And points and punts wins games.
I think cfield, Super Bowls. Lately, Super Bowls, definitely Super Bowls.
Easy to beat in the Super Bowl is what I think of.
But what if I told you that the C in cfield stands for cheat?
You do have to ask the question when you have a competitor like cfield, to what extent is he willing to go?
This is StreamField. cfield comes from humble beginnings, where he worked as a simple corn farmer in northern Iowa. However, something told him he was meant to do something greater. And that's when he finally made his way to the professional Madden League. You know, once cfield got to PML, he was a contender right from the start. And he was one of the first people I ever played. He was my playing game. And I could tell how good he was just from that point. And that Bills team he had when I first started may have been one of the greatest teams in PML history. And I think it didn't even win a Super Bowl, which is crazy considering where his career's gone from there.
Let's see. When he first joined, he's always been a playoff team. He always kind of like was right there hovering at the playoffs. He'd always either make it. Crazy enough, back in the day, the NFC East used to be a pretty hefty division. It used to be pretty tough with Bigsy Bros used to be in there, Hornet, and Vets, I think. I mean, so that was a pretty tough division for a couple of years there. I think cfield stayed with the Giants. I think cfield was trying to figure out what team and what kind of scheme like works best for him, kind of over the years. And you know, he had a couple bad breaks with Sammy Watkins offensive pass interference. So you know, he's kind of always been top notch kind of guy. I think back in the day when we first started playing, there was just a little bit better people. If I was not mistaken, he might have, I'm not sure how old cfield is, but sometimes you go through periods of I played Madden. I ran the league since high school pretty much, so I played all the way through. And when I was younger, I was really good at Madden. Now that the old man that I am, not so well. Obviously, that doesn't apply to cfield because he got better with age. It seems like, honestly. I don't know. Honestly, it's just I think he found his formula for what works for him and what team always works best for him, honestly.
After a tame start to his PML career, cfield finally turned the corner, going on to win double-digit Super Bowls and creating a legacy as the greatest PML user of all time. This legacy has led to admiration around the league.
What isn't there to say? Like, he's obviously the best in the league, and I can humbly say that. And that's rare coming from your boy. But dude's he's unbelievable. Like, he's somebody that you'll always pick to make playoffs. Like, if he doesn't make playoffs, he's either, like, lost his left or right arm, or he's just, like, AFK for some undisclosed reason. But that man, if you beat him, like, I beat him a handful of times. He's beaten me way more, but that dude can pass. That dude can run. His defense is just fan-fucking-tastic. Like, he doesn't even need to develop. He could deal with, like, fucking 10-year-old veterans and still find a way to scrape everybody. Like, he's definitely beatable. I mean, we all see that. Like, I'm pretty sure he has, like, an almost an even record or a little more than even when it comes to the Super Bowls. But regular season, going up to the Super Bowl, like every division, like every not even division, every conference should just be afraid of him. But you just gotta bring your A game once you're playing him. But he's definitely the king. Like there's just no question.
Seafield, I think Seafield is such a great player. I feel like, you know, that year he was. I feel like the year he was the Cowboys, he kind of mastered Madden almost. But, you know, when he first joined PML and through the first couple times, you know, in the playoffs, could never get over that hump. And I think he finally realized like what the formula is in the playoffs to get there and to consistently be that same person year in and year out. And his team building is incredible. I think that's the most like what he does with quarterbacks, like that's insane, honestly. Just the way he develops his team, I think that sets him up very well to just, you know, kind of, and if you're good at Madden too, like, you know, your football, like all three of those things go together and you're going to be really good at Madden, honestly.
When I hear Seafield, I think of someone who cares deeply about the game, who studies the game, who's really good at the game. I hear a winner. I mean, at least nowadays, I mean, after winning 5 straight and making it to 6 straight, Super Bowl's last Madden, I mean, it takes a certain type of player to be able to do that. I think Seafield's a good guy. I've talked to him a couple of times. He's a good guy for sure. But I do think he's extremely competitive, and I think he goes to great lengths to win games, whether that's like labbing or doing research or experimenting. I think he knows the game better than anybody else. I mean, I'll play games against him. There will be games where I'll beat him, and then after the game, he'll be like, oh, that cover 4 and cover 6 combination in which your slot cornerback did this adjustment was really tough on me. And it's like I subconsciously did that, and like he'll give me a better breakdown of my team than I can give it myself. I mean, that's just the type of guy that he is. But he's definitely, if I was talking about in Slack the other day, if PML had a Hall of Fame, he would definitely be a first ballot guy, I would say.
He's pretty well-rounded. He's not the type of guy, most players, especially at the top, at the elite level, you can point to very specific parts of their game, you know, the run game, the pass game, or their general team building methodology. Seafield is kind of a little bit of everything. He doesn't really shade too much in any direction. You know, he has some things that he does a lot, which is like he moves, he develops players and then he moves them once they end up being actually good for more players that he can develop. He definitely has the development aspect down and uses that less. You know, most people like Joe, they develop players so that they can use them, so that they can build a good team. Seafield develops players to then move them to get more players and picks and stuff like that. It seems like it's really just like every quarterback that Seafield signs is an investment, whereas for most other players, they're trying to build it up so that they can use them and be good. He's just trying to get them an X factor by throwing 60 touchdowns and then trade him away to somebody else, probably like Bob, and then that dude's gonna suck to the new team. But yeah, that's definitely a big pattern. Other than that, I wouldn't say it depends on year to year, you know, if he's a running team or if he has leaders in the passing categories and stuff like that. It's really all around. He's a great user, he's a great team builder, and I feel like he can play any way that he needs to based on his current team composition.
You know, when it comes to Seafield, you know you're playing the best of the best. If you fuck one thing up in a game, you're going to lose. Because not only is he going to know the game better than you, he's going to be able to make up for any mistake that he makes and then capitalize on every single mistake you make. Seafield is by far the toughest player to play in the league, and lately he's had some up and downs, but he is still the GOAT of the league. After years on top, the question arises, how far would cfield go to continue to be the best in PML?
Oh, cfield as a Madden player. Probably the least fun Madden player to play against, for sure. In my personal opinion, that might just be because of my unfortunate circumstance of every year when we do the team reveals, I find cfield is in my division again, and I'm gonna get bullied another 20 games this year. I'm like 3-25 against him in my career. Don't have a very good time. I would say, the way you guys, when you were talking in the power rankings, you guys talked about like Eric being the best defensive user and all these people making adjustments. To me, far and away, the number one adjustments tactical Madden player is cfield and Ram. Now, I might not be the best source on who that actually is because I'm kind of the antithesis of that, but that's my personal opinion. Is the stuff, the kind of the legend, the myth of cfield, of watching tape, of playing back people's VODs, their streams, obviously the StreamField controversy.
In early 2020, a controversy took the league by storm when cfield was accused of stream sniping sorcery in a game they were playing at a time where you wouldn't think anyone would be watching the stream. It was almost like cfield knew too well what was about to happen.
They have some interesting perspectives, I feel like, that people kind of dismiss, but I think they are kind of interesting. This is an interesting case for sure. I think it's weird. He has the excuse that he moved, and I mean that's and his internet's much worse, and I understand that. I mean, I get it. That's a plausible excuse. But I feel like if your internet is so bad that you can't stream any of your games, you'd end up just disconnecting from your games more often than he does, which I don't think he's ever disconnected from a game. I think it's a little suspicious that his internet's so bad, but yeah, he never has any issues with disconnecting just in general. But I mean, I miss watching cfield streams because he's a really interesting player just to watch. It's interesting seeing what he does on defense and offense with his adjustments and play calling. Because I mean, when you watch cfield, you're watching the best. But it's also strange that when you don't stream your games, usually your opponent has to stream, and that's obviously where the red flag arises. That is he intentionally not streaming so his opponents can stream and he could end up watching those streams? I mean, obviously it's hard to verify these theories, but I mean, you do have to ask the question when you have a competitor like cfield, to what extent is he willing to go? Oh yeah, actually, this is a really interesting thing. There were at least 2-3 games last year in which I played cfield, and right at halftime, he would end up randomly disconnecting, or like he would say he wouldn't be able to pick a play, or the game would freeze, or all the players would like glitch and morph into each other at like the 50-yard line, and we'd end up having to leave the game and start over. And these are things that would only happen when I played cfield. It always happened in a game where either it was really close or I had the lead, like towards half, and it always happened right near halftime. And now I don't know how you would be able to recreate these things, because these like seem like they're just Madden being Madden with their glitches. But it is weird to me that these like strange things always happen against cfield. I never had any of these issues with desyncs and not being able to pick a play against anybody else. Yeah, so I was watching a game. It was 2 a.m. my time, which is 2 a.m. Pacific time, and I was doing homework late at night, and I got a DM in Slack from Ram saying that he thinks that cfield's watching his stream. And obviously my first reaction is, well, that's just preposterous. And so I go on and watch his stream. It's Rams versus Cardinals. and there's 2 viewers, and this is at 5 a.m. Eastern. I mean, everybody should be asleep. There's nobody up. I mean, I shouldn't even be up. It's 2 a.m. on a weeknight, and Ram says that he's noticing these trends where on offense, cfield will wind the play clock down more so than he usually would, and he would always, and on defense, cfield always seemed to be in the right place at the right time. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest and say I did not pay that much attention. I don't know if Rams' allegations are true in this respect, but I do think it's really interesting that 2 people were watching Rams' stream that late at night. One of them had to be me because obviously I was watching the stream, but I don't know who the other person was. It didn't seem like anybody in Slack was talking about the game. It could be just some random guy from across the country just browsing through Madden streams, but I did think that was really odd. And I mean, everything, there are a bunch of little signs that if you want to make a case, I think a case can be made, but it would be almost impossible to prove, I would say. But the actual incident itself wasn't blatant, I would say.
All right.
To be perfectly honest.
Last question. Do you think cfield stream sniped wind?
No, I would say no. If I had to put my life on it, I would definitely say no. But it could have, it definitely, you can't completely eliminate it happening. Like there's still a little bit of doubt. And it's something I've thought about too prior to this whole thing, is when I stream a game, why doesn't my opponent just pull up the stream on their phone and wind down the play clock? Because the delay between what you see in a stream and the game, at least back when it was on Mixer, it was very, very short. It was like 10 seconds max. It was a really short delay. But now that it's on Twitch, I know the delay is a bit longer. It's probably like at least 30 seconds now. But in theory, if you wanted to, you could probably pull it off. And I don't know why. It's hard to detect who would be doing that and how. But it just seems like so complicated and so over the top. And I don't think cfield needs it to win games. It would be like just something like nice to have, but it's not a necessity for him to win games. And it's also, I mean, he won 5 Super Bowls last man without stream peaking, at least we think. Well, I mean, we know because he always streamed his own games. His opponent almost never streamed. So, I mean, if he was able to win last man without stream peaking, there's no reason to believe that he would start doing that this man, just except to try it, I guess.
Well,
but, one more thing. It is interesting. He started the season off losing 2 straight games, and then he went on like a big winning streak. And so maybe after that second loss, he was 0-2. I mean, that's not a good look for the defending Madden 20 champ, basically, to start off 0-2. So maybe he got creative. That's one more thing.
I mean, when I think about 0-2, I don't really think much about it because, I mean, I never go 0-2. But cfield going 0-2, that's different because I honestly don't really care if he goes 0-4. That still doesn't give me enough doubt that he'll make playoffs. Like, he'll make playoffs no matter what. Like, he could go 0-7 for all I care. He'll still find a way. Like, the dude, you just can't stop that man from making playoffs. I don't understand how you can tell cfield, who's been here for years, that's dominated the league for years, say that, oh my god, how the fuck am I going to beat the Rams out of all the people? Like, Sorcery, like, I think I play him this season, and I can't wait to whoop his ass. The man's just not, like, he talks a lot of shit. He DM'd me one time, and he was like, yo, put some respect on my name. Like, you keep disrespecting me on the podcast? Like, yeah, I'm going to disrespect you again because you're not good. Like, you might beat some easy fucking teams, but just because a good guy is beating you, like, no, you can't fucking stream snipe. Like, this guy's out of his fucking mind.
Heck no, dude. Heck no. Even if you tried to watch somebody stream, or I've talked to people, like, I've been chatting with Berg before when he's been playing his games. Like, you're a good 3 or 4 seconds behind. If I mean the way that I audible, there's no way that anybody would see my last audible before I hike the ball. So I don't know. I mean, you can even if you were stream sniping, you could see somebody's play, but you couldn't see any. Nobody runs. But not a lot of people run plays the standard plays out of playbooks. You know, they do a lot of audibles or route things or whatever. So no, I don't think so. Not even close. I thought it was a joke at first.
It's been 4 years since the events of StreamField, and everyone's still wondering, did he do it? Would he stream snipe? Is he capable of that? And I did a lot of research, and I found out the truth. So you want to know, did cfield cheat? Well, no. He's just really fucking good.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
After a tame start to his PML career, cfield finally turned the corner, going on to win double-digit Super Bowls and creating a legacy as the greatest PML user of all time. This legacy has led to admiration around the league.